Okay, hello, fabulous all-stars. So excited to be with y'all this evening. This is our amazing training, and we're going to take quick 15 minutes and teach and train on, this is some information I got from my business coach and my business associate that I've been working with, and I wanted to teach you guys a little bit about yourselves. This information is a lot of information I'm cramming down in, but that's why I have notes I'm going to email out to everybody, so that way you guys can see, your learning style. And so, a couple of quick facts about the brain that I want to get y'all to think about. Does anybody ever get stuck in a rut and they're tired of where they are? Do you ever hating that?
Right now.
Right.
Yes.
So, but you hating it is not fixing the problem, right?
No.
And you can sit there and go, well, I'm going to do this differently, and then you go ahead and not do it differently, right? It's the same thing. So, what you want to do is this is why your brain does that. Your brain, it's like your subconscious mind. And so just roll with me on this. You might be like, this is crazy, Michelle, but just, there's been science done on it. Just know it. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. And so when you're telling your subconscious mind, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then your subconscious mind's like, yeah, right, I want to see that. It will talk to you back, right? And so many times that tape that you're playing in your head is one that you're replaying that information, and it's not serving you well, okay? Does anybody else have a negative tape besides just me? In their head that plays constantly, okay? Call it whatever you want to. The enemy, it's the negative, whatever it is. But that tape is always going on. So you have to replace those words, okay? You have to find something else different to think about, what have you. And sometimes your knee-jerk reactions. Does anybody ever feel like, you just, oh, I'm just doing this because I'm done this. This is how I react to this situation. This is how I respond to things. Those things, that way that you respond doesn't always have to be that way. But it's a pattern of behavior that you have chosen to have. So let me say that again. The reason you are where you are in your life today has a lot to do with the pattern of behavior that you have chosen to have for whatever reason in response to whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you know that, it means that you can change that. You don't have to be a victim of what you always have done or have seen, etc. Does that make sense? Okay. So, what your brain does is you process information and you learn things. So, the little information that I'm going to send out in an email, you guys, this is the ways that you can think. And this is some things, and what your job is to identify in here, how do I think? And the thing that you want to think about is, no way that you're thinking or processing information is bad. It is just the way you are. And some of those things are innate, that's just the way it is. Some of those things are things that you can change or adjust. Okay? So, there is about 7 or 8 different ways that you learn information. And just so that you know it. Number 1 is, what is your core, your core desire? Are you relentless in wanting more? Do you seek more information all the time? Or are you more like, nah, I'm really good. I'm good. Okay? So that would be your core. How do you respond? Your outlook. This is somewhat inborn, but you can also switch this. So are you an optimist? Are you always a sunny side up? You're like, oh, optimist. Are you more of a realist? You need more facts and details, so you remain neutral. Or are you a pessimist? Are you more guarded? Do you protect yourself? Are you a glass half empty? Okay, good to know. Your problem-solving skills, this is another thing. When a problem comes at you, do you immediately go into overwhelmed, like immediately? Or do you that's a self-sabotaging behavior. It may shut you down, okay? Are you a person who needs details, like step-by-step information? Are you a person who needs to look at the big picture first? Okay? The next thing is your compliance level. Now, the problem-solving skills, you can adjust that. You can learn to solve problems differently. You need to know how you attack a problem, okay? Your compliance level. This is how you respond and deal with life, okay? A learned trait. So if you are, number 1, a rule follower, are you a person who, you get it, you follow the rules? That's just, you just follow the rules, okay? That'd be 1. A person who is a rebel, does not do the rules. Like they hear the rules like, whatever, I'm doing my own. Okay, that would be a rebel. Okay, are you a more common sense person? Do you analyze information and then, guide that? Okay, or you follow the rule until it doesn't make sense and then you change. Okay, or you use your intuition. You use an internal guide, inspired guide, and you don't really focus on what the rules are, whatever, you follow your path, however you're led, kind of thing. Okay. And this is a learned trait. Again, you can change how you do things in this area. This is a learned thing, okay? Speed. Now, this is set. So if you are a person, you need to know this about yourself so that you know how to work with yourself. Does that make sense? This is set. So your speed is, are you a starter? Are you like, I'm great at starting stuff. I don't finish anything, but I start the diet. I'm really good. Okay, that's a starter, okay? Are you a project person? You like to start it and finish it. Have a certain task, we're getting it done. Okay, but you get bored with maintaining things. That would be start and finish. If you're a maintainer, you just come in. We call that a lifer in Mary Kay. Someone who's a lifer, who's been in. They're going to be for their whole life. They may never get a car. They may never do it, but they are in forever. They will always be part of the pink bubble. Okay, that's a lifer. Okay, that would be a good person who can maintain really well. A finisher. Are you a person who work really well with a deadline, or you procrastinate until the end and you get it done? Okay, the very end, the last part, right? You know what you do. Or are you an absorber? Do you take a while to gather the information? You repeat it, and then you get it done, but you can't take it anymore until you process all the information. Okay? So that's one way that you learn. And this is a set thing. You don't have to change this. This is how you are. And it's all good. There is nothing wrong with any style of it. It's just your style, okay? You have to know how to work with yourself when you're in the style, okay? The other one is how you're the style of gathering data. So, are you a thinker? Do you just need to process it and chew it up in your mind? Just process it, chew it. Or are you a talker? Do you need to talk it all out and talk it out loud and talk to someone else about it and not really hear what they're saying but just talk out the information, right? I put Kristen on there.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a writer? Do you write it all down? Okay? Just write out all the information and then you get it. Do you need to see it? Do you need a visual? Okay? That's the other way of gathering data. And this is a set thing in your mind. This is how you are, typically. Okay? Relationships. This is another method. And this is, again, just how you are. Do you learn from talking, listening to others? Do you do better with a conference call? Do you do better at meetings because you learn and gather what other people's knowledge is good for you? That would be someone who's a social community. Are you an individual? You don't need to learn from anybody else. You just read it, you're done. The rest, the other talky-walkie stuff, drains you. You're out, okay? That is just who you are, and that's fine. Structure, now this is something that we learn, but you can change it, is do you learn by a linear? Do you need to see, like, pattern step by step, learn your basics, and that a little more, and that a little bit more, and that a little bit more? Are you a basic learner in that way? Or are you more of a person who needs to, you can learn little pieces lots at a time. You learn a little bit here, stick it in there, a little bit more. Later, you're more flowing, free-flowing, okay? Or are you more detailed? You just want little tiny steps, and then eventually you get to the big picture, but you just want the little bitty ones, like what's the very next step, and the very next step, very next step? Or are you somebody who needs the big picture first? Like, I want the car. So, I see the car, now what do I need to do to get there? To break that down. You have to see where you're going first. You can't do the little steps unless you see the big thing. Okay, so that's another way of learning. Another one is sensory. Now this is how, and again, like I just said, this pattern can be shifted. What we just talked about. Sensory is how your brain is wired. So you just need to do what your brain does. So auditory is obviously by listening. If you learn by just listening and hearing, you don't need to see it. Just listen and you got it. Kinesthetic is you got to get in it, you got to figure it out along the way, you got to perform it, act it, do it, that kind of thing. Visual is just see a video like this and you're good. You can turn my sound off and you're all happy, okay? Or, so that is something that's just who you are, okay? Another one is, I'm sorry, and this is the homework that we were supposed to do. So this is your homework for today. What I want you to do is you can print this, and I want you to take it home, and I want you to look and see, figure out which you are. Circle what is your core. What is your outlook? Circle, find all those things and think through. The most important part of this task, guys, is not, what am I? I don't know what I am. I'm reading. They all seem like me. What? One time or another. Right. The important part is the process you go through to figure it out. So as you're thinking it through, you may figure out that at certain times, under stress, you're the overwhelmed. But typically, if you're, having a good day, you've had plenty of sleep and some coffee, then you process in this way. Okay, so you want to figure those things out because that will help you to know how your brain works best and stay on some of those things, to stay in that and to feed your brain what it needs to feel at that time. So if you are for myself, I am a talker. I'm generally an optimist with some realism thrown in, and I generally follow the rules until they don't work, and then I follow like what God's telling me to do. So I probably should listen to God first. And I talk it out. So I know for me, I can talk to Julia's hotline and figure out my whole problem without saying anything to anybody other than her hotline. And then I've got it all figured out because I talked it out. But so I do that all the time. And she's great with that. But you need to figure out what your style is, okay? See why that would be important? So you need to know yourself. Know thyself. To thyself be true. Okay? To know how to do it. Okay, so what you're going to do is learn your learning style. And this is the other thing. I wrote this. Give yourself permission to be yourself. This is not you changing who you are to be like, me or Jennifer or Kristen or whoever. You learn you, and you can be whatever you need to be as long as you know your learning style and how you understand that. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Ready? We good? Okay, pretty simple and easy. Okay, so that was that. Now let me teach you guys about whenever when you're having issues with something, and let's say you are feeling overwhelmed with something. I want to teach you all a technique that you can use whenever, so that you're not getting onto that. Remember, I talked about like your brain it will stay in that same mode, all the time. It'll stay, and you'll keep doing the same thing over and over again. And why do we keep doing this over and over again? I want to do different. Okay, it's in the same pattern that you've established. So to stop the pattern, when you feel yourself going into that, oh, I gotta do this, like maybe if you ever feel stressed, or you ever like avoid a task, or you ever feel a fear or something, there's an emotion about something, okay? Instead of just feeling that emotion and going with whatever that was gonna be, what if you stopped first and took a breath? So everybody do that with me. Okay, maybe another one. Okay, we're slowing it down, right? And then you can think to yourself, is this serving me? What I'm about to do, is this serving me? So stop before you just go on and do what you were thinking of doing because you've always done it that way. Stop it and ask if it's serving you. That emotion, is my fear, is my frustration with my husband, with my kid, with my whatever, serving me? Maybe not. Okay? And then evaluate what that feeling was and maybe why you had that feeling. That'll be next week. Okay? The other thing you can do is, this is a great affirmation. When I'm feeling something that feels really negative, I stop and breathe, and then I say to myself to calm down. If I'm feeling frustrated, I say, everything is working out as it should be working out. It's all unfolding as it needs to unfold. I'll have all the information I need when I need it. And when I say that to myself, I feel soothed. My brain says, oh, okay, I'm happy now. I'm not freaking out about something. Okay? All right. I think we push stop. I think someone needs to push stop. Can you help push stop? Stop. Push the button.